us to have a serious conversation about this. You know what? The business community says yes, it is time to have that conversation. I spoke with Patrick Smyth, the president and CFO of Ross's Gold, of course, the one and only Ross Rebagliati, a great representative of Canada and of sport. And I started off asking Patrick about how he got into the business of marijuana.
I'm in venture capital, tech background mostly, gaming, casinos, that kind of thing in the late twos, early twos.
The early twos,
the late twos. There we go. And then I got into online banking and started just looking at venture capital. I moved back from overseas to Whistler in 2011. And a year later, so I was talking to Ross about the upcoming laws.
Ross
Rebagliati, exactly.
Canada's gold medalist.
Ross Rebagliati grew up about a block and a half from me in West Point Grey, and in I guess January 2013, we were sitting around at the Roundhouse. We both been riding that day, and we started looking at the laws and how we could how we could get into business that way. And we came up with a number of models, and Ross and I created what's called Ross's Gold, which is a brand new company.
Now, Patrick, one of the other things that you've done in your life is worked with different celebrities, whether it's musicians or entertainers, on licensing agreements and branding opportunities. And that's really part of the business plan with Ross's Gold as well.
It really is. I mean, my background on that side was with Madonna, Britney Spears, U2, Van Halen. It was a crazy time. I was living in Las Vegas. And with Ross, he has international celebrity. We were driving in Toronto, and there was a guy driving our cab who was from Guyana or something like that. Yeah. And he's like, "You're Ross Rebagliati," and I was blown away, by how much Ross is known and how well he's respected. He speaks to the industry, I think, and he's got a good reputation. And, we're moving forward on a great licensing sort of thing there.
Okay, explain, because there's a lot of confusion around the laws. The MMPR, which is the new Marijuana for Medicinal Purposes regulation, there's licensed producers, there's all these things going into it. You've taken a slightly different approach with Ross's Gold.
Yeah, we have. What we've done is we've joined up with a partner who is going after their LP, their licensed producer license. That sounds silly.
Licensed producer license. Yeah, okay.
What we do with our JV is we go to other growers who are licensed by Health Canada. We have them grow specific strains, which we call Ross's Gold, Ross's Platinum, and so on and so forth. We then ship it all to our warehouse in Toronto, and then we fulfill the patients from there. So we're like the Amazon of medical marijuana.
I was going to say, and that fits within the new MMPR regulations.
It does. Ross's Gold is a licensing branding company. We're not actually a licensed producer or distributor, so we are just a brand, and we work with growers to help them, because under the laws right now, growers cannot advertise. So we've got a grower who's up in just north of Pemberton, and she's got some excellent product, but nobody knows who she is.
Right.
So when she gets her
and she's not allowed to tell anyone.
She's not allowed to tell anyone. So once she gets her LP, we're able to brand it and call it Ross's Gold Lemon Kush.
Because you guys are in a different area of the MMPR regulations, or you're outside of them?
We're outside of them. We're just, we're a licensing branding company.
So you can do the advertising, you can do all the...
We can advertise, we can't advertise marijuana.
Okay.
So we can advertise a brand, a lifestyle, and go with that. We have a TV show that's in development. We'll see if it gets picked up.
Lots of different products, from clothes to, obviously Ross's extension into sports as well.
Yeah, and everywhere Ross goes, people want to know what he's doing.
So as we go forward, as the law, I was talking to Cash Heat earlier, and Cash was saying, look, this is a progression. This MMPR, he believes, is a progression by the Conservative government to get to that point where everybody understands and they have a framework for the legalization. What do you think, as a business person, the possibilities are in this industry? Because I think there's a lot of people that are talking about opportunity that don't necessarily know what they're really doing.
Let's look at, it's not a great example, but let's look at something like Seagram's, which was born out of Prohibition.
Right.
And Seagram's is here today. I think you're going to see some strong brands come out of it. You're going to see the legalization. We support legalization. We support it absolutely 100%. The tax benefits from it are huge. Investment possibilities for people. Employment alone on a legalized model. I think, at Ross's Gold, we've hired graphic artists, we've hired botanists, geneticists, web developers. We have to fly to Toronto all the time. We have to eat. We have to.
Right.
I mean,
well,
it's
the
a
company,
myriad of
as it
things.
expands, obviously the work base and the workforce expands with it.
Sure. I mean, our partner in Toronto has construction, electrical, plumbing. So for the economy, it's big, and I think it will be legalized. It's going to be a heck of a tax base.
Yeah.
If you look at Colorado, in the first 3 months, they've done over $12 million in taxes.
As a business person, those kind of numbers must be fascinating to you. I mean, to tackle it from that idea of, okay, here we sit, we have the basis for a strong business and obviously an existing and a very strong brand in Ross Rebagliati, but as you go forward, you must look at that expansion and see some excitement in there as a business person.
Absolutely. I mean, the sky's the limit, really, on what you can do. Once the government gets its head around it and understands that dried cannabis, which is all we're allowed to produce right now, is not the way. It's into edibles. We see money be made out of edibles, be it from sports drinks to pills to you name it. You go down to Washington and you got like 10 different types of cookies on the counter. So there's so many opportunities there outside of just the dried cannabis in Canada.
How much of an issue are you having with the framework that you're given right now with the MMPR? I mean, we had the head of the Canadian Medical Association saying that the medicinal marijuana business model is quackery. He doesn't like the fact that doctors are put in. But just in terms of the general law itself, as you're looking at patients that are taking this to court because they want to grow their own, how much of that affects, or how does that affect your business?
My attitude is like this. I can go home and brew my own beer, brew my own wine, and have it at home. Yeah. That's great. Now, I can't, if you come over to my house, Mike, for a barbecue, you can't take it home with you because that's breaking the law, and I certainly can't sell my home brew. So, I mean, we support that. We think that's great. You should be able to grow it at home personally. For me as a business person, I don't brew my own beer.
Right.
I head down to the store.
You're not that good at it.
I know.
I've tried brewing my own beer.
Buy beer, right? I mean, so for us to be able to sell Ross's Gold in that kind of market, it's great. We supported that kind of thing.
Yeah.
With Health Canada, they're doing their thing. They're moving slowly. It'd be nice if they pick things up, and we're not really sure why. There's a lot of great growers out there who've done a lot of work and put a lot of money, who are just waiting for approval.
So as you're working with the licensed producers or your licensed producer, you must see them go through the process of trying to get, jump through all the hoops and complete all the paperwork, have the facilities inspected, things like that.
Absolutely, and the ones we're working with, they've done that, and they're honestly sitting, pressing refresh on their email, waiting to hear from Health Canada, and it's tough for them. But it will happen.
How important we've seen Health Canada under these regulations as well, recall marijuana, which is something I thought I would never actually be able to say on radio. There's been a marijuana recall, but it does show that they are very seriously looking at the consistency and the viability of the product.
Sure. The first recall wasn't a recall of product quality.
Okay.
What it was more to do with how it was produced. They had taken marijuana from their old MMAR and they had moved it over to their MMPR. So it's a consistency.
So they weren't allowed to do that, right?
Yeah, it was a process issue, and right. They still have their license, and they're going to be fine.
So it was a paperwork problem more than anything.
Yeah, with the Peace Naturals, I mean, we know them; they're great guys. They had some quality problems, some issues.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. They're being sought after.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, for your business, right? When you're branding something as Ross's Gold, that must be incredibly important to you. I mean, that you're working with licensed producers that are producing stuff that hold up to whatever the brand. I mean, you can name the brands in the world, whether it's a fashion brand or a lifestyle brand. That's the most important aspect, is you're selling something that represents that brand.
It represents Ross Rebagliati and his brand. We go and we visit the sites. We get to know the operators. They do testing, and then our partner in Toronto with the distribution will be doing testing again. So we're actually doing double the testing that's required.
Have you guys looked into, or does it matter to you in terms of the medical efficacy, some of the peer review studies, some of the research that's going on? Do you pass that along to customers, or do you allow them to just figure it out themselves, what they need?
We haven't decided that. We are building a new website and so forth and putting a lot of information on there. But it's really going to have to come down to the doctors, and the doctors are going to have to make that decision. There are doctors who believe in it. There are doctors who don't. The CMA right now, of course, you mentioned, they don't see it, but there are doctors within the system who do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a paradigm shift in ideology, is what this
legalization takes care of all those questions, right away. Patrick, thank you. Really appreciate your time. And congratulations. What's the website for Ross's Gold?
www.rossgold.com.
rossgold.com. Go check out the website and have a look. They've got some great swag on there, too. I like the T-shirts.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Don't forget to join us May 26, 4 p.m. Canadians Talk Marijuana. Is it time to legalize in Canada?